Yeah, a celebration to last throughout the year. So bring your good luck. We don't celebrate. So party with you. Come on now. Let's all celebrate and have a good time. We gon' celebrate and have a good time. It's time for together. It's up to you. It's a celebration. Let's celebrate. It's I dedicate God to life throughout the year. So bring your good time. We don't celebrate and party with you. Come on now. Let's all celebrate and have a good time. Yeah, yeah. We gonna celebrate and have a good time. It's time. It's up to you. What you want to let It's a celebration. Let's celebrate it. Come on now. Let's celebrate it. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate. It's all right. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate. It's all right. Baby, we're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate. It's all right. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate. It's all right.
Oh, good morning. Let me stop this share for a minute. See if I can join you here. What have I done? There we go. Hi. Oh, the camera's way up there. Where am I? Oh, wrong way. Thanks for joining. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Awesome. I am going to wait a few more minutes because there's more people coming. I'm very excited to have everybody joining today. And it's been a long time since I've done any kind of webinar. So I'm very, I am a little nervous, but that's
I have
okay.
a question.
Sure.
I have a question. Mine says it's recording. Is it always recording, or did I push a button that's making it record?
No, I actually have it set to automatically record.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just
just
wasn't
because
sure
I will be sending this, I'm planning on sending it to everybody that attends for sure. And there's some that couldn't make it that registered. And I said, I'll send it.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. It's a nice sunny day.
It is. Wind is
Nice.
chilly though. We just got back
Yeah,
from a
we're
walk.
just out there trying to get the dog some energy out before, yeah, and it's a little chilly, but then the sun pops out and it's oh yeah, come back if your video's not working. I know it does funny things sometimes. Just come on back in. Look at this, you guys. I'm so excited. Look at all these people. It's gonna be, fear is a big thing, a big topic, and I love getting it out there, and I love the idea of helping more people and helping dogs and live better lives. Yeah. So I've got a bunch of slides. Here we go. Heather's coming back. I've got a bunch of slides. There's not a ton on them all, but visual always helps. I like having visual. Let's see, what time are we? 1:01. Let's just give it a couple more minutes here, another minute or two. People are always trying to get on and finding it last minute. I'm very excited though. Where is everybody from? You guys, tell me where you're viewing from. Where are you, Lori? Are you out here?
I'm in Selkirk.
Oh, you're in Selkirk. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I think my husband said we're getting a bunch of snow. I hope not.
I don't know. Well, you're
We
in
need it.
Winnipeg. Yeah, you're in Winnipeg Beach.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I know it's supposed to be farther north, but we are supposed to get some out here, but I don't know if it's going to be a lot.
Yeah,
But
we
we do
do
need
need
it.
it. Like, wow, it's so dry. You know what
Yeah.
I'm gonna do?
I am in Minnedosa.
Minnedosa.
Hi, Minnedosa.
Hi. So that's Heather. Let me see here. Mary's coming in. Oh my goodness, you guys, this is super awesome. I
I'm
even
in-
got to get dressed up.
I'm in
Sorry.
I'm in Winnipeg. I saw you this past summer with my dog already, so
Oh yeah, okay. In the summer, boy,
yes,
I'm ready to be out there
Yeah.
again.
I know.
Definitely. Well, let's see. So we got 103. I can start. I'm going to share my screen. Is it gonna work? Let's see. There we go. I just have to make sure I can still see people wanting to, if they want to come in. Here we go. Yep. There we go. Another one. Let's get rid of that. There we go. All right. All right. I am just so honored that you guys are joining. I really appreciate it. I'll go through. My agenda here. Little about me. I'll do a little bit about me and then talk about fear. What it looks like, why dogs experience it, and how to support dogs so that they can thrive and live lives with us in harmony. Dogs have a huge challenge, and I like to try and help people understand what they're going through. Little about me. I'm going to be 57, so of course I have quite I've been living a lot of years and worked a lot of jobs and done a lot of things. I'm married. I'm a mother, a grandmother. I have 3 grandchildren. I was a registered nurse for 24 years in Winnipeg. I worked in a lot of wide variety of places, long-term care. I did geriatrics, gerontology. I had a certification. I worked many years in geriatrics, and then I went to more acute and I did the ICU, and I worked in trauma. I've worked in cardiology with transplants. I've done lots of wide variety. And then when I left nursing, I got involved actually in rescue. So I ended up getting my obedience trainer instructor. And then I stumbled across Kim Brophy in 2021. And I learned about this applied ethology, the science that is behind that supports everything in my holistic nursing approach. Really was filled in the blank and gave me what I needed, the information and the proof and the science behind what I believe and feel about dogs. it's a wonderful science, and I'm just learning more and more all the time. So I became licensed, and I'm the only licensed family dog mediator in Manitoba. It's growing, and in the kind of the world, it's getting more and more. It's awesome. So I worked with Border Collie Rescue for 5 years. Lots of feral dogs, lots and lots of fear. You know, they're a breed that can have lots of problems when they're under stress, and I had just lots of great experience there. Spay and neuter clinics. We did educational programs, which I really think is very much needed. So I did lots with there. I have 3 foster fails from rescue. I don't have a border collie. I will one day. And I also spent 8 years working and volunteering at a dog school and boarding facility. I did help care for lots of boarding dogs and foster dogs. And now I have Fitz Your Dog training. I think it's been about 4 or 5 years now. And I do behavior consultations, and to provide ongoing support. I also have my aggressive certification through Michael Shikashio, Aggressive Dog, which is a great program. And I have a private dog park on my property. I do rent out my property, and it's really nice. It's Sniff Spot. Anybody anywhere should check out Sniff Spot. It's an app. There's a website, and you can book sniff spots or a private park, so you don't have to worry about other dogs with your dog. And I highly recommend it. And I see Manitoba now has, I think, 5 or 6 sniff spots. So the idea is to not worry about other dogs and to just be off leash and have a good time. I have a toy box that I've been working on. It's going to be overflowing this summer. I've been getting stuff all winter, and I can't wait. Oh, here we got one more person. So yeah, so that's, it's hard to get everything into one spot. So my mission, Hogan here, he's a big inspiration in what I'm doing too, is to inform as many people as possible about the dog's truth. Kim Brophy has actually a course program that you can buy, and that I do provide to my clients with permission, about the dog's truth, because there's a lot more to learn about dogs than the world has a lot to learn about it's more about relationships, right? And educating dog lovers about the uniqueness of each dog, emotionally, physiologically, genetically, and create that help people understand and cherish, honor, and respect dogs for their unique traits. Because I want dogs to be dogs and live as they're meant to be. And I really, Hogan, this guy is my huge inspiration. He was taken to the vet to be put to sleep. He was taken to be euthanized. And he came to me. He was actually a drop-off point, and he never left with rescue. He had huge fears, afraid of everything. And the first thing he wanted to do, it's not even think, it's just attack. It's just go. And he's come up so incredibly far and continues to improve in his fear. My father-in-law came over the other day and was walking around the house looking at stuff, and I helped Hogan a bit in the beginning. We have a routine, you plan ahead for these things so that even when they happen, you're ready. And he was able to walk around and not even chase him when he walked around the house and bark or anything. And there was a time where he couldn't move a hand and the dog would be freaking. So he's come a long ways, and what a gift that little guy is. So it was suggested to me, to try and help people, encourage them to know what fear looks like, because I, don't realize how much there's little things to learn, and that you don't know. So this isn't a big section at all, but just to get people aware that every dog is unique. So you have to look at the dog and get to know your dog. But every bit of the body, you can find there's signs. There'll be stress in their whole general stance and the position of their head. The ears will sometimes go right flat, right? The tail tucks way underneath. They might be licking their lips, and so you really have to get to know all of the face and the animal, the body. I did connect. It was actually 2 years ago, a couple of years ago now. There's not a lot of studies. Like, I was really interested in the mouth of the dog, and there was a lot of studies around the eyes. And now that I know that, I look at the eyes a little differently, and I do actually see more signs when, when they're stressed or when they're relaxed and stuff. So just getting to really look at your dog and learn what they look like. I have this little picture here, and this dog here really makes me think about with some of the dogs that I've seen, even when you go to the pound or something, it's like they're trying to push themselves right, like to just not even exist. They're just right in the corner and trying to not be in that space at all. And when a dog, if a street dog, there's a lot of studies on street dogs. It's super interesting. And the street dogs don't have these issues because they're able to walk away. They're able to leave. And our dogs don't have that. They can't just turn and walk away. So getting to know the signs, of these fear and recognizing it is the first step, right? Really getting to recognize when your dog is fearful, when it's starting to happen, before you can step into, how to help them. It's sometimes it's just a little side eye. It might be something really small. It might be just a little move back. It's something really small and subtle that you don't even realize your dog is doing. And really recognizing it is really important. So the next part that I put together here, why dogs experience fear. This is a little bit of a bigger section because I really wanted to jump into what I have learned being a mediator and with the applied ethology. And usually a lot of times there's, when dogs are in a new environment or a different environment, there's no point of reference. Like when you get a dog or a puppy and you bring it home, there's nothing the same, absolutely zero the same as what they've had for all that long. I mean, it's a broad spectrum to say, like puppies to fostering or adopting, it's big different points in their lives, but just the fact that they're going through that is a trauma, and they come with traumas. I have Effie here, the picture. I definitely will be sharing her story. She is an amazing dog that came to me, the most crazy fearful thing, and she is enjoying a great life now. It's wonderful. And being aware of there's genetic triggers, because I am going to go a little bit into that, I think, in one of my slides here a bit, but there is genetic triggers in dogs that they've been bred. These things are totally made to be in them to respond to sounds of people, right? Dogs, but then you get, surfaces. Surfaces are really interesting, right? Floors, in different situation, and heights can be a huge problem for dogs too. So with the mediation, a big part of it is on the leg. We talk about legs. This core, I would even say this is very legsy. The idea is to get people thinking about the dog's learning environment, genetics, and self. It's can help to understand what they're going through. So when we talk about the learning environment, genetics, and self, you kind of end up jumping at the self first, how they're feeling, what the dog is going through, right? They're puppies have fear stages, and when they get fear stages throughout, and something can trigger a fear stage. When something that didn't bother the dog yesterday, they're suddenly afraid of it, terrified of it today. Like these things do happen as they're maturing, or even a trigger. And being aware that the self of the dog, their weight autonomy. I guess I could have put another line there, but I don't think the word weight's supposed to be in there. But how they're feeling is a huge, we got to think about us, how we feel. We have all these feelings and emotions, and dogs have a lot of feelings and emotions too. And if they're not secure, if you're not feeling good and physically, all of that can really affect the dog's life. Excuse me. And dogs are always learning, just like us. You're always learning throughout life. Each dog, you look at the differences of what they've gone through, what they've learned, the rewards, negative effect, consequences, sometimes what works and what doesn't work for the dog. Because they learn, right? If they do something and it works, even if it's barking to get attention, they will do it, right? They learn really fast. And the environment that they're in, the environment is what we get to manage, right? That's the part that we get to manage and help them with. And they're really, confined. They're under our control. We really have them captive, and helping them, that's something that we get to think about and consider with all the dogs. And then the genetics is huge, right? Everything that's inherited, the predispositions, these are all very important parts of to really help a dog. We have to try and look at all of these things. And I threw this in here, their dogs bring their genetic impulses and family history with them. We talk about with when mother is under stress before having the puppies. We know that stress can affect a puppy, but there's also proof it goes even farther back. And it makes so much sense in evolution and life that, if one dog, they end up going somewhere, living somewhere, wild dogs, it's just trying to think of an example. If they're living somewhere and they all of a sudden there's all these snakes, it doesn't take, and they learn to kill them or to protect themselves from a snake or something. The next generation will have this. They can learn this stuff. It's really carried on. Their experiences shape their emotions, their actions, always learning about you and life with you. The environment's always putting some sort of pressure on the dog. And we have this pressure to have the perfect pet. And it just doesn't work that way for many people. I mean, lots do, but lots don't too. And how the dog is feeling, just people, I think, often expect dogs to be perfect and do things every day, and they have off days too. Oh, Mary came back. Dogs have off days too, just like we do. Dogs have bad days. They have bad days. So then the next thing to think about is I talk about this lots. I think about this lots. Ray Coppinger's 3 categories of behavior. And this is something that dogs, their whole life and everything they're doing kind of fits in here, right? Reproduction is always important. Foraging for food and resources, which is something that many of us take out of our dogs' lives because we just hand them a bowl of food, so they don't even have that foraging need fostered and supported, right? And then hazard avoidance. They're always threats to self, resources, and territorial. Dogs are always, wanting to, there's always this will to live and to survive. It's interesting how so many of them, like in the wild, they wouldn't, in street dogs and in wild dogs, they don't get into fights a lot because it has a high price. They can get hurt. They can die. They can get sick from a fight. So it's interesting how much with the dogs in our society, how they do actually fight more, right? They go right into that protective often and fight. And it's a sign of needs not being met and their insecurity right in the environment. Kim Brophy has also created the 10 breed groups. I love the conversation of breed groups. There's a form and a function to everything on dogs, like the special ears, the specialized, even the body for running, the sight dogs, they all have specific functions. And if you think about it, I didn't put a slide in here with this. I really could have put a lot of stuff in here, I'm sure. One of the examples that Kim Brophy also uses is the ball analogy. You can't use a tennis ball to go bowling, right? A football is only good for football. It's not, so with the environment and what you're using it for is something to think about of the dog, right? What the dog actually has bred into them. So the 10 groups, the breed groups is really very helpful. It's another large section, and I definitely, in my Paws and Hearts Club and with all my clients, one of the first things we do is start looking at try and figure out what the actual dog is that you have that's in front of us. And I like to talk about predation. It's very interesting because this is something that is bred differently into every dog. So there is this sequence: search, orient, eye, stalk, chase, grab, bite, kill, bite, and dissect. Every dog has it differently. like a retriever, the gun dogs will go and they'll go get it, whatever it is. I guess if the hunter has shot it or whatever it is, but they won't hurt it. They don't damage it at all. They've got this different level of predation bred into them, very differently for every dog. And it's something to think about, right? Like our little terriers just love to go. They'll just go and kill, and they won't stop. Like they'll just keep going, and it's bred into them. It's baked in like a cookie. I like to say it that way, and it's true, right? Our little dogs bark and stuff. So then I'm talking about the triggers. First of all, learning what the triggers are for the dog. What is it that the dog is afraid of? So 72% of owners, I know I said this in one of my posts, 72% of dogs have some sort of fear or anxiety. 32% of those, it's sound. Sound is one of the biggest fears that dogs have. They're sensitive to noise, but it can be so many things. So figuring out what the trigger is, and reading your dog, right? They have these built-in triggers. They have just such incredible awareness of the environment, things that you don't even realize. The one big thing that has come to light to me this winter, what I've really noticed is that, like, even when I'm watching TV, and if I just go, oh, to something on the TV, Hogan will jump up and go to the window. Like they're so in tune to everything going on. It's mind-boggling. I can't imagine how hard it must be for them sometimes. So learning about your dog breed can help, right? Figuring out what's going to trigger with, the sight, the sounds, the scent. And just, it helps to become aware. Like, as I've got there, scent dog. I mean, have you ever, I can remember my dog walking, this is years back now, we were walking when I lived in the city, and all of a sudden she just went off to the side, and I go, what the heck are you doing? And she went like about 6 feet away was a milk bone. Somebody had dropped a milk bone. Like, how would she even know that was there? It was the scent. Smell is very interesting, and it's, they've got massive scent glands. Olfactory system is amazing. So yeah, being aware of that, the triggers can really, because then you can plan, right? Like, at least again, becoming aware. I had to throw this in here, the antecedent iceberg. It's really recognizing all that stuff. So recognizing the breed, thinking about their trauma, how they're feeling that day, new puppy, genetics, it's all brand new stuff, whatever it is. And then something happens. It's like the leading up to the stress of it, and then something happens. So just being aware that there is often a point. Like if it was a calm, happy day, a relaxing time, something might not trigger your dog. But if there's other stuff going on, and then that circumstance, that noise or something happens, then you might get an exaggerated response because of everything else going on, if that makes sense. It builds up, it's building up. It's like that stressor building up, right? So it's important to think about. And the trigger, so I actually mentioned in the last one there, the threshold. So learning the threshold distance is something I like to talk about with people. Figuring out where the point is that the dog is going to react. For example, when you're walking, there's a dog way over there. As long as that dog is way over there, your dog is fine. If you start going towards that dog, like how close, what's the distance that your dog is going to start reacting? You want to learn that it's always good to know the threshold distance for triggers. Like if you're going to work with a dog that is reacting to other dogs or other people, figuring out kind of where it's starting to affect them, and you start working with them a little before that. You want to try and it's finding the threshold, and the distance really is key to working for a lot of situations. And another perfect example that I think about that I was talking about is somebody, I mentioned snakes again. I don't know, poor snakes. I do like snakes. But if somebody was standing right here, it's like if I'm in the room with somebody and they've got this gigantic snake on their arms, like I'd be okay over here. but I don't really want to get much closer, right? It's kind of figuring out that point for dogs where they're going to start reacting, because that's your starting point of where you can help working with them, if that makes sense. Yeah, the antecedent eyesight. So, how you get to make a difference for dogs living in fear. I saw this quote. I think this is right out of Kim Murphy's one of the programs there, but explaining, not explain, don't train. So instead of saying, what do I want the dog to do? What would be the best for the dog to learn, to know and understand? You know, what's the dogs don't always, they can't always do what we want them to do. We have to figure out what they need to do in these situations. You can't, if a dog is really afraid, it's pretty hard to get them to come and sit quietly if they want to go hide in a corner. Right? It's really a challenging, and just thinking about what's best for the dog, not me. So the first thing that I always like to tell people about is your mindset. Your mindset is huge. Your mood, your reaction. If you're walking and you know there's a dog and you're worried that your dog is scared and gonna react to it, if you make even a small breath in, a little look to the side, anything, your dog reads you like a book. And just really, really concentrating. I have spent years working on it. I don't know if anybody does any kind of yoga, meditations, anything that being aware of yourself and that your dog is reading you. So being aware of that can really help, right? Staying in a calm state, staying in a relaxed state. Your dog is going to read that, and it can really, really help. I suggest really moving slow, being non-threatening. I'm trying to remember because I didn't put everything in these slides. Walking straight at a dog when they're scared can just make it worse, right? Like turning sideways can really make a difference. Giving dogs space, the space in the room to let them make the choice. If they're saying they're afraid, you get to respect that. We get to respect what they're feeling and what they're going through. And don't pressure fearful dogs. I think I talk about it more, but the more pressure you put on them, the worse it can get. And dogs will attack. Like they will, because if they're that scared, a cornered dog or something, they will attack. They will, because they're that scared, they think they go in that freeze, and then they can attack because they want to protect themselves. And we don't want that, right? As soon as you get any kind of attacking, that's any biting, you don't want that. You want to always avoid it. Just being aware of that. Every dog is unique. I got Effie in there again. Don't forget, you don't know for sure how dogs are going to react to new situations and experiences. So being aware of that, like maybe you're going to need to slow down. We're going somewhere new, or this is something new happening. You might have to slow down if the dog is afraid. You don't want them to shut down. Remember that they need lots of sleep. They do need rest. And that could be a big issue too, right? A really scared dog and stressed dog might not even be getting enough sleep because they're living in that fear. And when you provide predictable leadership, when they get to know clear boundaries and routines and gentle guidance, it really can be a big difference for dogs that are struggling with fear. Again, I say don't force them if they seem hesitant at all. If your dog it's your dog's way of saying they're not sure, and they don't want to go somewhere, to go on something, whatever it is that they're afraid of. And just letting them have the quiet that when they need it, and respecting that. And I love talking about the piggy bank. The more positive and good experiences, and like they trust you, if they're scared and you find a way to help them pass things, you got to make sure nothing bad happens, because all it takes is one bad thing, one fearful experience to wipe out all the work you've done. It can be a huge step back. The thing is that they will start getting better. They can get more resilience and recovering faster, but it's like a piggy bank, and you really want to keep it full as you can. What else do I got here? Help the dog learn the rules and environment. Have a schedule. You know, they like a boring routine life, in, out, breakfast, they go in and out and rest, maybe a little play. Often that's all they need to come out to lose some of their fears, is just having a nice, comfortable life. What else do I got here? Don't over cuddle. I think that's one of the hardest things for us people who really love dogs, is that we want to protect them, and we want to hug them, and we want to hold them, and we want to love them. And sometimes it can be counterproductive. And like, I encourage to just work on your own calm, but just sitting with the dog, sit there and relax, giving them attention without being over them, but actually on their side to you, not, you know, going over them, not hugging them, just kind of being calm and relaxing, rubbing the chest. The chest is one of my favorite places for dogs. And I like to tell people, when dogs are stressed, without putting yourself in danger, if you can, rubbing the chest and talking quietly is really, it's like a garden hose that's plugged, and they can get that. When you give them that rub, it lets them get the stress out in there. It can help the stress to get relieved and come out of them. The energy, that's the word I'm looking for, the energy, to help them become calmer. It takes patience and time, but you know, you can't force it. You can't train it out of them. You got to just give them time and help them work through it. You know, just sit with them. I know I had a few stories that I was going to share, but there is one lady that came back to me a few years after she adopted one of the dogs from the rescue, a border collie, that all of a sudden was shutting down when they went to go for a walk, would not move. And she sent me pictures. She's like, look at my dog. He used to love walking here in this park, and now he won't go. And I spent some time talking with her. And one of the biggest things was just sit with him and talk about it, and let him process it. And she didn't have to do it long, and he was fine. Whatever it was, because whatever they're afraid of, even if you don't see it, you don't hear it, you know, there's nothing there. To the dog, there is something there. There's absolutely something triggering them that's making them afraid to go forward, or feeling like they need to defend themselves. And we have to recognize and talk to them about it, accept it. I'm big on talking, communicating, simple words, right? You know, it's just this, you know, it's okay, you're good, you know, I got you. They got to hang their hat on you. They got to know that you're going to make sure that they stay safe all the time. It can really help them. And learn how and when your dog likes to be touched. Every dog is different. Every one of my dogs is completely different. All four of them are completely different on how they like to be touched, how they like to be hugged, which they mostly don't. You know, like they're all different and unique. And so, yeah, do you like hugs? I guess I got that. Do you like hugs? I like hugs, but I don't want somebody on me all the time. And just recognizing that the dog gets to be, you know, his own being. It's autonomy, right? And the more a dog is able to relax kind of on their own, like you can help them, but it's more they learn self-regulating. It's self-regulation, and they can learn how to handle themselves better in all sorts of situations. It takes practice in helping them. Bonding with your dog, get to know your dog, spending quiet time together. Play. I don't think I put much about play in here. Play is huge. I'm a big fan of play, and when a dog is doing things like that, it puts their mind out of those scary places and stressful experiences and into what they naturally like to do and would want to do. And they forget that it's good emotions and good feelings. I do have spending time together, playing, or just hanging out, relaxing. You know, I put a blanket down and sit down with the dog. Lots of dogs just love that, that kind of time together. I suggest everybody check out the dogkey.com. It's where you can plug in your dog's, you plug in their body, the ears, their weight, their tail, their fur. There's a few things, and it gives you a rough idea of what breed group, and from that you can learn. There's more information on what your dog might like to do. And it's very helpful when if you can find, I like learning about the breed. It can help. Make sure you're creating a safe and positive environment, and appreciate that you need to move at the dog's pace. When you're dealing with fear, you have to take your time. You have to be willing to take your time. And honestly, often it's worth it. It's worth it when you take your time and you go slow, see what the dog needs, read the body language and learn how to help them. And holy mackerel, it's like watching a flower bloom when you see a dog come out of their fears. I did my original presentation I had made was for people with new dogs. I was wanted to keep rescues in homes, right? So I'm always telling people, if you have a fearful dog, like, don't rush the dog to meet people, right? It's not going to help their fears. It's great if the dog will let somebody take a treat or throw a treat at them or whatever, but don't push it. Don't push it. Dogs don't like it, and they can be aggressive or fearful. With aggression, I like to think about a haunted house. If you put me in a haunted house and somebody touched me, there's a good chance I'm going to hit you. Right? I'm that scared. There's a good chance that I'm going to lash out because I'm scared and it's a reaction. So just being aware that fear can cause aggression, and because the dog just gets stuck in this protection mode. And we know even fear with the barking. I mean, Hogan barked at everything, but he was afraid of it and just felt like he had to protect himself. And it's like a lash out first before you lash at me is what he's thinking, right? Or we believe he's protecting himself before he can get hurt. And it's not a nice place to live. And it's so wonderful when they're not like that. What do I got here? The dog's noses. I'm doing pretty good here. I hope 37. Hope you guys are okay there. I was going to take a break, but I don't think I need to right now. So the dog's noses are amazing, right? And for 30 million olfactory receptors in their nose, and some of them have way more. Dog senses, nose is amazing how they can even pick out things. It kind of blows my mind. So it's 40 times greater than ours. So I really, really suggest, if you have fearful dogs, when dogs are super stressed and fearful or in that point, sometimes they won't take a treat. I get that. They get so scared, they won't touch a thing. But if you take advantage of times when they're not that scared and give them good experiences, let them use their nose. Anybody who's worked with me knows I'm big on search. I'm big on dog puzzles and games and giving them things to do. It puts their mind in a better place. And the more the mind is in a better place, the more it will go into that better place and stay there. So really, letting your dog forget about the stresses of world and doing this stuff. I got my muffin tin. Somebody else here. My muffin tin is a big thing I started many years ago. The muffin tin with tennis balls on it and put treats underneath, right under the balls. Like, there's simple, easy ways to do that are so good for fearful dogs. Right? They just need to get out of that fear zone and have good experiences. I've got the snuffle mat, helping them forget about the stress. And of course, I've got my search in here. Search is great for recall and focus, getting your dog to focus on you, because you want your dog to look at you. You want your dog to come to you when they're stressed, when they're fearful. Hogan totally does it. He barks at something outside and he'll come running to me. And sometimes he doesn't do it that often anymore, but sometimes he's got a really anxious, I can tell it's a stressed bark. He comes to me. So teaching your dog, to come to you, focus on you, is huge, and it's great for your relationship, right? So I throw a treat and you want them to see it. If a dog has never done this, they won't know to even look sometimes. And people say their dogs don't sniff and search, but most dogs will. They would just don't even know how to use their nose like they can. And so throwing a piece, as soon as a dog goes to get it and looks at you, that's your moment. That's your second, like, yes, come on, good job. Make yourself fun. Always being aware of how you are, right? And this is a practicing, recall. Do it again. Throw a treat, get it, come back. You could do it with a kibble. You could do it with half their meal, depending on the size of the dog. My dogs get a little handful, but somebody with a bigger dog, you're feeding, 1 to 2 cups whatever it is, you can use some, and just take advantage of those opportunities to improve your relationship, to get your focus and recall with your dog. And then I've got, please, being patient, supportive, just sit back, practice. If a dog is afraid, you've got to find a way to sit. Honestly, a lot of times they will get past it if you give them time and be patient. I do know it doesn't always work. I've worked with lots of they were very feral dogs. And what did we do with the one? I went inside and I got some chicken, and I went outside and I just sat on the ground, and there was some that never did come to me. It was, these were dogs from a hoarding situation, and they were very, very, very feral. I remember there was 9 of them or something, border collies, and just sitting there being non-threatening and giving treats, right? And we had like throwing the chicken at them. There was a few that came, but they have to. It's something that they have to move past, and sometimes you just gotta wait and take your time. I said it again, don't walk towards the trigger or stressors. So if you're walking, if the dog is afraid of something and stops, sometimes you just need to go to the side a little bit, and it can snap them out of it. If they're suddenly scared and stop, they don't want, sometimes you can, come on, let's just go this way and try that, that kind of experience. But like I said, don't walk towards the stressors. I threw the box fan hack in there. We have several hacks that the Family Dog Mediators, the list is growing. It's very, very helpful, and it's things that a lot of us were doing already. And it's just little ideas and tips. And the box fan hack is great for fear of noise, for thunderstorms and for fireworks. People have said this is it's a miracle. It's a $1 million tool. Just closing up the area so there's no outside window noise getting in the room, and putting a box fan on. It's a white noise, and it's worked miracles with many, many dogs. For sure. And the other thing that I would say for some dogs, I didn't put on here, I don't know how many people know about a Thunder shirt, but Thunder shirts, I've even seen tensor bandages used like that, wrapped around the dog. It's kind of like a hug. It's like a blanket. It's like a swaddling, and that can help dogs with fears too. Very, very, very helpful. I've seen the Thunder shirts. There's a lot of things that can help. But being patient and supportive is one of the biggest things. I wanted to share, we're doing not too bad. I'm almost done, actually. I wanted to share Effie's story. So Effie came to me. I have here written, I wrote down what she said. So this is from January 2022. So it's just 2 years ago. I got an email. Dog has a 16-month-old rescue is recently taken to biting at the cheek of the 12-year-old Aussie, of their other dog, and they have she snapped at the other dog, and he snapped at and made contact with the 8-year-old grandson. So she came to me with help with the dog that had actually already bit a child, and that she came to so the dog was from rescue, and the dog had been super sick for a long time in the beginning of her. Many of these dogs come in quite sick, so they've missed out some really important socializing and growing time of their life. And you can tell they just don't know how to react. She was so shut down. She came into my garage, and she just was flat on the ground and terrified of everything, looking everywhere. And we spent the entire winter, she came out almost every week, and we worked on building her confidence, because confidence is huge. And I used her nose. She was not the biggest sniffer at first, but once she got past that and started liking it more, it helped her to experience more things, like to go around the room and to start playing with the toys. And the tunnel is always a big thing for confidence for dogs, building that confidence. And she is doing amazing to this day. She is still getting better. Just the other day, she went to the groomers, and apparently she almost let a man pat her. And that was like her owner thought she was going to let him pat her. And that, there was a time where she would have tried to back into the wall. I mean, she was so shut down and terrified. And she's now living, that picture of me with her looking her in the face, like she didn't come to me. She wouldn't let me touch her. She didn't want me to touch her. She didn't want anybody but her mom. And she was trying to hide inside her mom's skin, I think sometimes, right? She was just so terrified. And now she comes up to me. She's not, I don't know if she'll ever be like an extremely personable, up to you dog, like some friendly, super friendly dogs are, but she's very happy. She does, stop and say hi. And it's very special. It's very nice to see a dog come out of that total fear stage. It's been wonderful to see her still keep coming. They come, we walk around the yard for half an hour, and with all of her dogs, actually. She lives with other dogs. And that is worth mentioning, that other dogs can help. If you do have or know a dog who is relaxed and a settled, confident dog, that can often help a fear dog. It can help, they can see the other dog interacting. The fearful dog can see the other dog interacting with people, interacting with the environment, and it can help them to get out of their shell. For sure, it can make a big difference. Yeah, and I've talked a lot here. I love Effie's story. What else? I know I was going to. I have another. I just before. Hang on, stop sharing. I'm gonna stop sharing for a minute. I had another dog that I worked with that was terrified. I love telling some of these stories because it's so wonderful when dogs are not afraid anymore. There's a lady that came to me with her shepherd. She'd gotten a 3-year-old, I think it was 3-year-old, but it was a mature shepherd from a breeder. And the dog, as soon as she wanted to do command training and have the dog, and the dog was already trained, but she wanted to have a dog that because she has a bit of a disability, and she wanted a dog that would be able to be with her and to obey and to to go for walks and not drag her down and things like that, right? So she got this dog, and the dog was command poisoned. The second you said a command, the dog shut down. The dog would just completely shut down, and we worked through it and helped her again with confidence, with playing. Play was huge. Play really helped get her out of her shell. And she had to change a bit of how she was doing the commands too, right? Like it was just bizarre how scared dogs can be from overtraining and from their environment. And she's living a really nice life now too. She's got the best owner. She walks her everywhere. And to do with other dogs, I was doing my classes here. So I haven't done them since COVID, but I had a Saint Bernard. It was a large pup. It's like even though it's a pup, it's quite big, right? A Saint Bernard. And he was terrified of everything. He was terrified of the yard. He was pretty scared of everything. And a friend came, and it's somebody they know, with their dog. And that dog went around the yard and started doing everything, and the Saint Bernard followed all the way. And you could just see the Saint Bernard getting more and more confident and having more and more fun. So it's just finding the right. It's almost like a key, right? Like finding the key, what's going to help the dog, and really being aware that you need to take your time and patience, and you are a big part of it, right? How you react, how you are with your mindset, and what you're showing and displaying to the dog and portraying. I know I didn't ask any questions here. I was just get someone who asked Diane. Diane, is she here somewhere? I don't know if I see her. Because she
I
had
do.
asked. Is she there?
Yep, I'm right here.
Oh, there you are. Sorry.
Yeah.
My eyes, I think I've been looking too much computers. You were talking about your dog barking and everything, right? But you've done
Yeah.
good with the car, right? You've got her you just pat her and you say it's okay, and she stops barking. That's in the car? Is that right?
Yeah. No, that's just people out the front window when people are walking by or cars are going by or parking in front of the house. She starts to bark, but I got her used to it's okay. And I pat her, and then she would stop. So now I could be at the other end of the couch and I just have to say, it's okay, it's not here. And then she'll stop, which is good. So it's just the somebody coming up the driveway, whether walking or driving into the driveway. Her fur goes up at the end of her neck there. She's to me, she's panicking. There's somebody here, stranger danger type of thing, and so trying to calm her down, saying it's okay is not working. This is more specific, I guess, than the other situations. So even someone coming to the door, she's barking so bad and so terrified that I have to pick her up and open the door to talk to whoever's there. But she's barking so much in fear that I have to say, just hang on a second and I'll go put her in the spare room. I have a baby gate set up there for the cat. So I just kind of put her in that space for a few minutes while I go deal with someone at the door. So now she can't see who's at the door, but she can hear voices, but not barking as much. So I guess my question would be, how would I get her to know it's okay someone's coming up the driveway or walking up the driveway? What's the technique I could use to calm her down?
Yeah, well, and I think that, like, you're on the
Not
right
saying,
track, right? With the
yeah,
call, talking to her and telling her it's okay. I know what works super good for Hogan that I would still do if somebody came to come in my house. Um, Depends who it is, but I have a leash that I put on him, and I put the leash on him. And I have, it's really hard to deal with the dog and deal with a person, right? Like you kind of,
yeah,
it is hard to do that at the same time. But you're on the right track with it. I think I would try the leash and try giving that extra security connection. I do pick up, like you said, pick up the dog, and usually they calm down, right? Like usually they calm down after not long, and I can take the leash off or leave the leash on and let him walk around with it if I have to. And I think that you're on the right track, and you keep doing what you're doing. I mean, you can have something prepared to give him the room to make him quiet, right? Like to get him to relax, but that's not really helping him deal with the issue, right?
no, no,
Right. So, I mean, it depends on the person. And if you had somebody that was willing to practice it, right? Like you kind of be a little prepared. I know you don't know when somebody's going to show up. That
yeah,
unfortunately, yeah, it happened to me just like an hour ago. I'm like, oh boy, I hope nobody shows up when I'm doing my meeting, because they all four went crazy, and they didn't stop until I went in there, and then they stopped. Like I was just like, all right, it's okay, and he was really worried, and I'm just like, no, it's okay. It was a guy that was talking to my husband for a minute, right? But they did stop. Like he did
yeah,
stop. So I think you're on the right track. The leash is something that I suggest, and it can work well. Um, Practicing place, right? Like having a mat and, getting them to sit there with the leash while somebody's at the door and you're talking, even if you can, like, right, if you can get them with a treat, or, just practicing doing something, trying to associate that with changes association with somebody at the door. And I know it's a challenge. Men, it'll always be worse with men, almost always, right? Men, um, dark-skinned people, children, and then women. That's kind of the order of most dogs' fear of people. And it's it barks at the slightest time. It's really, oh, Mary, yours does a lot of barking too. Barks all the time at the slightest noise from outside the house in the garden. And that's why really talking about what's going on can make such a huge difference for dogs. There's another lady, I don't think she's here, who just came to a few of my meetings, and has already, like, because she was closing off everything outside because her dogs wouldn't stop barking. And I says, well, what about talking about it? Like talking about what they're seeing out there, or the noise out there, just, it's like the TV in the middle of the room, right? We know it's there, even though you can't see it, like for the dog, if you can't see what they're reacting to, but it really is something there to them. and acknowledging it can make a huge difference. What does she say here? Seems very excited. Who is this? L-E. L-E. Mine seems very
E.
excited to see Lori. Oh,
Yes.
very good to see people as soon as they make eye contact, she barks at them. And it looks like fear. And if they walk by, she acts like she's gonna chase them. This is when on a walk. Yeah, they saw eye contact. So even it's interesting at how like even eye contact can be a trigger, right? Every dog is different with how much they like to eye contact. I've often seen if a dog has this kind of side look at me, if I look at them and they kind of go a little to the side and their eyes get wider, it's sometimes it's a sign, don't look me in the eye, right? And just trying to respect that, that they don't really like to be stared at and sideways. And I would so with again with that kind of thing, like working with any dog, if you find kind of the trigger, the threshold, the point where they're going to react, and you start a little before that, and you start working on changing the association, treats or sit or doing a trick like search or anything, just doing something else in still in the when they can still see the trigger, is they can change their association with it, if that makes sense, right?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So both my dogs are doodles, and the one loves people, gets extremely excited, and so then the other one, who is kind of a medium sized, she's the one that barks. I mean, he barks too, but she barks at the people if they stop, and if they want to try and pet her, then she barks. But she sort of reacts from his reaction, even though he's excited, then it seems to trigger her into. I need to get you to come and spend some time with us, because
They do, right? Multiple dogs change everything. They do. It
yeah,
can change everything because they read off of each other. I swear Ginger loves to get Hogan going. She'll go woof just to get him going, right?
yes,
And he's like, what is it? What is it? Right? It's like, oh, come on, buddy. It's not, it's no big deal. I know I say it's nothing, but it's not nothing, right? It's something. And yeah, so then you have to be catching him, right? Or saying to her to relax, he's just being a
yeah,
nut.
yeah.
And doodles are very high energy.
Oh,
And these dogs have this friendliness gene. It's so interesting. And it's actually genetically baked into them, like labs, right? Some of lab retrievers are just like, love me, 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 fun, fun,
yeah,
fun, right?
yeah.
And it can be a handful. And I think that doodles have a lot of that. I feel like
See,
a
and
lot.
our other, like, so that's our golden doodle, and then I have like a Bernedoodle, but she's more poodle than she is Bernese. So she's the one was really fearful when we got her, and she still doesn't like strangers coming to the house too much. She's gotten much better. Um, she didn't like going to the groomers, and she didn't like the vacuum cleaner, and she's kind of gone through stages where all that is pretty good, but she's still very anxious on a walk. Like if a dog is barking in somebody's house, she barks, but it doesn't look like she's comfortable. And yet when we see other dogs walking, her tail's always wagging, but then if they were to come close, then she like barks like that and looks like a crazy dog.
Oh, yeah, and that's what's interesting, right? Is how much they will react when they're scared and they get all tough. It's like they got to protect themselves before they're going to get hurt, and it's kind of confusing sometimes, right? Like I said,
It
in the
is
wild,
very,
they wouldn't fight. In nature, they wouldn't, because it's an expenditure of energy and it can cost their life.
yeah.
You know, I wa- that I almost, you made me think of a Thunder shirt for a second there. Just because I know, yeah, the one dog, I think that was a doodle that we actually did it with. But what about, do you put a harness on her?
Yes. I have two different harnesses. One is one that goes down the chest and hooks up. And then the other one is kind of like it just wraps in the front and then hooks underneath. That one, and she wears like winter jackets and stuff, but maybe they're not really tight enough. Like I don't.
I don't know. I just know it's like sometimes it can help, right? I do believe it can help. I don't know how tight it has to be, but I do feel like, yeah, I just know that I've seen it help. I've seen with even with thunderstorms. There was a dog in the boarding, and we actually, like I said, we used tensor. But being aware of and especially when anybody's leash walking, there's something called leash stroking. This is something I learned when I did my was working in fosters with the rescue. We did everything to help people to be able to be successful fostering and hopefully adopting to somewhere. But leash stroking, the dog just kind of proofs in my mind how much connection you do have through that leash. And I've actually
Oh,
stood
okay.
and just gently, even just gently stroking it. You want to be aware, as soon as that leash is tight, they're going to be reading your energy and you're going to be reading their energy. So really working on the loose leash is a great factor, right? It can make a difference, and being aware that they feel you everything through that leash. If you go
Okay.
right, if you turn your head, something's there, they know, you don't have to say anything. They're even aware of our breathing, right? So it's nice that it's good that you're working on it. That's why I was going to suggest the harness might be a good thing. How old is she?
She will be 2 in May.
Okay,
And
so
she
she's
was
still
from a farm, and I don't know if she had a lot of people, um, lots of different people come around or too much. I don't know. Like there was quite a few, or like a few puppies, but I don't know if it was more like a breeder thing as well.
So like it would be nice, like anybody that's having the walking. So if you're walking and you're and ideally another thing that can get a dog, just I thought of it too, is to get a dog's attention when they're being crazy is I've told people to put a squeak in their pocket, right? The inner
Okay.
squeak of a toy,
Oh
like having
yeah.
that just to get their attention or something that sometimes that can break it. But if you work just a little bit away from where they start getting triggered, like if you can stop and even do a few things and talk about the environment and don't walk towards it, whatever's triggering the person or the dogs. But if you can be near and do some good things, they can change their association with that fear. It's amazing. It's changing the association, and it works really, really well. Even in the aggression course, Michael Shikashio, he still does case studies, and it's really changing, giving them a positive association even when they're that far from it. And then you can be slowly thinking about moving closer, right? And once they get used to that, yeah, it is okay. Mom's got me. Just make sure nothing happens, right? As
Yeah.
long as nothing bad happens, you're on the right
She's never
track.
she's never had anything bad happen to her with us. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah, she's just kind of got this fear in her, and she's not overly friendly. So I don't know if that is all part of it. Either like there's
Could be. And her age, right? So she's coming to maturity, and all of this genetics and everything is kind of just all coming together, right? Like 2 years old. So she's still fine adjusting to the environment and learning about everything. And
Mhm.
she's kind of so this is when, yeah, I'm not surprised that there's a little bit happening. And hopefully, you keep working at it and keep giving her, good experiences and letting her know that I'm not gonna let that dog eat you, right? And nobody, that person's not gonna hurt you. It's so hard, planning, right? Planning ahead of time what you're going to do in these situations. Like you don't know when someone's coming to the door, but if you know what you're going to
Yeah.
do when they come to the door, it helps, right? To be prepared. It's and some dogs never get fully past it all. Herbie came to me, my little Jack Russell, Italian Greyhound disguised as a Jack Russell. That's what he is. He came with huge fears, and you mentioned the vacuum. I mean, if I turn on the vacuum, no matter what the temperature is outside, because we have a dog door, he will go sit
Mhm.
outside.
Oh,
boy,
yeah.
he would freeze to death before being in the room with a vacuum. And that's sad. Poor little guy.
Yes,
And his
it
shirts
is.
and his sweaters definitely are like a thunder shirt. I
Okay.
find he licks less, like he's less stressed. I think it helps him. It's always, and it's trial and error, right? Like
Yeah.
seeing, and if you do notice something, like that's when you want to remember it and think about that for the next time, right? It's really tough. What do we got here? Heather says, howls and talks like a husky. Huskies are so funny. We're walking with
Yeah,
the
she's
dog.
not she may be part husky, but she just like the ooh, and she'll "Ah, rah, rah, rah," and people are scared of her, and it's like she's not. I don't know how to curtail that.
Just
That
her.
people,
Sorry, what do you mean?
Well, she's just doing the ooh like a husky, and she ow wow wow, and people across the street look at her and they're going, "Oh, she's going to come and attack us." But her tail's wagging. When she does meet a dog, she actually gets down and is very submissive to it. I just her talk. I don't know how to control her talking.
Well, you know what? And that's really, it's like recognizing it and talking to her a little bit. I'm all for talking to dogs, but it might be like, I mean, if it's a husky, if it's got that, she sounds very interactive. Like she sounds like she's wanting, like you say, yeah, she's wanting to say
Yes,
hi.
yes, that's exactly. As she goes to daycare and loves it there, couldn't have be enough interaction there. So I think that she's just wanting to interact with the other dog, but the people are, ooh, they're backing off because they think that she's gonna be aggressive. So
And
we
I think
just keep,
we forget the word leave it, sometimes using the word leave it, right? Like, leave them alone, it's okay. And that kind of word can help. It
okay,
doesn't always come out when you think it should, right? Like, but it does,
yep,
but it's actually a useful tool when you
okay,
remember, right? If it comes out,
yep,
leave it and let's go this way. My
okay,
one favorite thing, let's go this way. I think I've done that with dogs for years and years and years. I love to getting dogs to follow me. And they do. It's really, that sounds really cute. I don't know. I like dogs so much, right? That husky talk, they talk, and so acknowledging it, right? It doesn't sound that bad.
okay.
What do we say? Oh, Mary has to leave. Oh, thanks, Mary, for coming. She's gone, I think. And what does this Lisa say here? My dog loves people and other dogs, but won't pee or poop anywhere but home. When we board him, he'll hold it the whole time. Oh my
oh,
gosh. I recently just got him a Thunder Vest. Good. Try it. Try calming treats. That's another thing. Um, with fears, I have totally had some good experience with the calming treats. Uh, I used the ones that I got at Pet Value, and it was a natural product. It wasn't, it was all natural stuff. But I found, like, especially with Herbie, because when I used to go to class, he would just freak. Like when I walked in the building, he would just become this nut. And he was it was full, it was like an explosion. And I gave him the treats. It was natural calming treats. And one a good experience, like he was calmer the one time, I never had to even give it again. Right? Like just
and where
sometimes
did you get those?
that was at Pet Value.
I think
Okay.
those are the ones I got too.
Yeah.
And did they work?
They seem to, I noticed a difference in him. He seems a lot more calmer.
Because
And
my dog is on these things. They're mellows from the vet, but I never noticed whether they make a whole lot of difference for her.
yeah, it's tough, right? For some, and I know that's suggest other drugs too. And I mean, I have seen good results. I like the call. So what kind of dog is it, Lisa?
He's from the rescue from Paguas. He's like border collie, German Shepherd, just a bunch of mixes of
There you
different
go.
dogs.
And how
But
old?
he's just over 2 years. He's super
Okay.
friendly, loves people, loves kids, loves other dogs, but just little things, noises, or even get into him to go into the car. He starts shaking like a leaf. One time he's good, next time he's not. I don't know. And then same with the daycare. He just runs to the door. He meets all the staff, he loves the other dogs, but he has this issue where he just doesn't want to pee or poop there.
That's
just-
crazy, eh?
He holds it to the point where like he's suffering and pain and shaking and
Wow.
you know,
Oh, that poor guy.
Yeah. And I have heard of that. I've heard of dogs only wanting to go at home for sure. I mean, I definitely have heard of that. Hmm.
they'll send
We'd have
us pictures of him and then he's just like the saddest looking dog ever. Like it's just unreal how
Oh,
so heartbroken.
and you know what? It's hard to know what he's gone through, right? Like the trauma
Yeah.
that these dogs go through from the reserves.
Well, I know it was him and a sister and another one, and they're found freezing. They would have froze on the road, and that they had a mother dog, and I guess that dog was older, and they had fixed her and left her with the owners. But yeah, I don't know. He's just, I don't know. I don't think he had a very
was-
good start.
The only thing with the peeing and the pooping, I think right away, I wonder, like, it's too bad there wasn't a way to bring something with his pee or something on it,
Scent
right?
on it.
Right? But I don't know how you could do that with the daycare, right? Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
but you could try. Oh, thank you, Angie. Thank you for coming, Angie's. I appreciate you guys. This is nice. Yeah, you'd have to, you know what, confidence building stuff, you know, for dogs that are fearful, and I think that many dogs need confidence, where we tell them so much what to do all the time, right? Don't do that, don't do this, you know, that we need to give them more positive, good stuff, right? And even if, you know, going through the door, good job, right? Like just the smallest anything. It's like getting a star in school when you're a kid and you got that gold star. Right? Like it's just what it can do for dogs to give them that good job, good dog. I swear they love to hear it. I know I'm going to get dogs in here if I keep that up. Really can make a difference. Yeah, you know, and the calming treats, I tried them, and I always tried to try them at home to know the dose or whatever, right? Because I gave Chico, we were going to class and the instructor was complaining that he barked too much. So I thought one day I would try this calming treat with him. And you know what? It was the weirdest thing. He was in the back of the crates, like it was awful. So I never gave him another one. And I just tried small amounts because they're little dogs, right? But if you can find something, CBD oil, I know I think I did that with Herbie at first too. But the more, and the
Get
car,
CBD.
you know, I'm hearing a lot about the cars from people lately, and one thing that can help is like bringing their favorite blanket or something in the car, right, to make it a more familiar place. Who knows what the dog has been through, right? And then I would suggest, with the fear is, I can't wait for it to be warmer to tell people this, because it's much easier when it's nice out. But just go in the car, have a few treats, and then get out. Like you know what I mean, just make it an in and out good experience. You know,
Oh.
it's interesting how some dogs don't like it at all, and others, you know, jump in there the second you open the door. it's and I'm glad. Good tips to try using some with Luna with her stranger danger. Yeah. See, Rose is asking about the CBD. Do you know what? Donna Middleton. There's a lady named Donna Middleton. I know she had some. She was selling it. I haven't talked to her in a long time, but I'm pretty sure that I can put a link in. I can see what I can do, because I want to send you guys this video and I can send some links. And I'll
Okay.
see about Donna. She's the one person I can think of right away. And she's in the city. She's in Winnipeg, as far as I know. I haven't talked to the people about that in a long time. In fact, pretty sure I have some way expired stuff in my cupboard. I get nervous about giving the dogs drugs, right? I don't know.
Me
Especially
too.
yeah. You know,
Mellows? You're
No.
nervous with the mellows?
I don't know if I've heard of that one.
Oh.
Melatonin is another thing that they give, right? A lot of people give melatonin, I think, for
You're fine. You're fine.
oh, we can get
You're
everybody
fine.
going.
You're fine.
Oh,
Good
you're gonna
girl.
go to-
Good girl.
They're called Therabites.
Oh, Therabytes. Okay, I have heard of that.
It's from, like, it's from my vet. But I never know whether I feel like they work or not. I don't know.
Are you giving it regular?
Yes. Like
And
twice a day.
you don't really know if it's making a difference.
Well, so there was a while I had taken her off, but I didn't know if it was like full moon crazy or whether it was just actually because she was off the mellows. I'm sure it does do something for her, but
It's so hard, right? Because we don't know, like we say, what they're hearing, what's triggering them. And finding the right thing, it can be a challenge. Yeah,
well, and I
absolutely.
don't want to put her on anything that's, like mind boggling for them, I don't
Well,
mind calming things, but
I think they even use like people Prozac and drugs like that, right? Like really
yeah,
strong stuff. I mean, that's for a vet. That's for a vet to decide something like that. I
yeah,
was a nurse and and the more as I got older and was put on a few different medications, I realized how much they can change, like gabapentin, for example, right? There's a lot of,
right.
and there's a lot of dogs on gabapentin. And I'm telling
Mhm.
you, when I took much of that stuff, wow, did I become loopy. Like
Mhm.
yeah, it was, my whole head was messed up and I forgot and did it again. They were like, try this higher dose again. And I forgot and I did it. And so, just being aware that everyone is different.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, you got to go with what your vet says too. And I don't know if I'd want to do too much mixing, right?
yeah,
Mixing of, you know,
yeah,
it's so nice. It's nice that, that you guys are willing to try and help your dogs, right? And take your time and figure them out. The leash has made a big difference in the house. I just have it's a slip lead that as soon as somebody comes, I throw it on Hogan and it's like a thunder shirt after, years now of doing it. He just seems to
and that's
calm
just the
down.
thing that goes around their neck.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one that just slides and it's a material one because I got it from Samantha Lovett. I love it
Okay.
in Leash here in Winnipeg, and she made it, and I didn't. That wasn't why I got it, but that's what it's turned out to be. So giving the dog that association of a good thing and the calming experience, it grows. The next time they're in that experience, you can help. They get more resilient and less reactive. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
I know it's easier said than done. Definitely.
Well, this has been great, but I gotta run, so thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Yeah. Do you know what? So I do have my offer um for people to join the Paws and Hearts Club. Of course, this is all for an offer. Yeah, if you have to go, that's fine. Keep in touch.
I think I
But
have this in my email, so I will sign up for that.
I think it would be great. And the conversations twice a week. So I figured it out yesterday with my friend. We sat and I'm giving like roughly 8.5 hours a month to people is what that's what I'm giving and offering, and we're doing some great stuff and it's just growing. So I don't have the link attached with this right now, but I put an offer in. I put it on my page. So for $197 for a 1 year membership, or it's $47 a month. I recommend, check it out. Somebody can come for a month and see if they think it's worth it or not. It's a different angle on dogs working. It's all about relationships. And I really hope that I'm hoping to get some people, joining up. What do I got here? My thank you. It was a really cute presentation. I liked it with it had all animals. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really appreciate. Yeah, I'll see Rose. Oh yes, I'll see Rose tomorrow. Rose has joined. Rose is one of the people that has joined, and the idea is to get more and more people. And it's working. It's helping, and I like it. And I
That's
can't wait.
perfect.
And anybody that joins, if there's a way, if you're close enough, I'm actually working out things to include like like in person.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm working at that. Whoever I can, that's what we're doing. So I really appreciate you guys joining
Thank
and
you.
I
It
will,
was great.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad. I hope I got some, given some solutions and suggestions and that are useful for everybody.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, you guys have a great day. Don't, you can always email me back or check out the Paws and Hearts Club. And hopefully I'll see some people soon.
Okay, bye.
You okay, Lisa? Did that help some?
Yes, thank you.
I hope so. You guys, Heather, Diane, thank you all. Thank you all, Mandy, Anna, Tracy, Bruce, for watching. And hopefully I'll see you guys soon.
Okay,
great day.
bye.
Bye.